Anyway, so we've had lots of experience. It's gone well so far, and we're looking to expand our user base on the issuer side to do other types of investments, not just film, and that is the real estate and the business to business. Right. So the idea is we operate a brand called Angel Funding, and on that platform we work with deals that have been referred to us by a partner of ours, Angel Studios. Those are film and TV series projects, so they're either looking for production budget or marketing budget typically. And I wish I had looked before the total number of offerings that we have done, the total number of companies, because many of the companies have done more than one offering. And we've had all of them successfully close. Now, and I want to be clear, that's not saying that it was a success for the investor. It was a success for the issuer, for the company. They reached their minimum and were allowed to close the offering. And that is a component of the law we'll probably get to some other time.
Yep.
But all but one of them has been successful in that way.
Yep.
And a handful of them have paid back investors, but many have not paid back investors, so we can't speak as to the percentage of, and I say that when I say we can't speak to the success, the percentage, it's because companies haven't failed yet either.
They're still in the process.
Exactly, like, it could be 5 to 7 years, or, that's a typical time horizon that companies will say, oh, you should invest in a company thinking that far ahead. And in this case, that's true because many of the projects are looking to reinvest their revenue into further production, so TV series, I specifically mean.
Is now a good time to talk about why specifically real estate and B2B versus like any startup company?
Yeah, I mean, I hesitate to say it to some degree, not from the perspective of me wanting to keep it private, but I want to make sure that our viewer doesn't see this as a stamp of approval.
An endorsement. Yeah.
We're not supposed to do that, and it's not wise for us to do that anyway. But our, research in the market, and I think most people would agree at the time of this recording that the economy is not doing very well. People's budgets are increasing, as in how much they need to spend for the things that they've been buying, and so they've had less disposable income, and on a security standpoint, and by security I don't mean a type of investment, I mean safety. Exactly, thank you. We just see that real estate, for one, if it's in a growing market, is more likely to do well even in a downturn market. I think real estate and again, on the other hand, business to business services, we think that again, consumers are going to have less money to spend on extras. And so a company that is selling extras is more likely to go out of business right now, not have the funds to be able to weather the next 2 years. Now, obviously, if they raised a ton of money and that was their goal, to weather the next 2 years, that's what we're going to use it for. Maybe that would work, but we want to start out a little bit more narrow, so we're going to focus on business to business because we anticipate that even in a downturn economy, businesses that want to grow are going to be looking to other business providers, services providers, to keep their company growing. And so they are likely or hopeful, we hope, that they will fare better.
Yeah. I think one of the things that came up for me when you were talking about that is the idea that we hope that we're only presenting things to investors that could be good for them.
Yeah.
It's also, our duty.
Exactly. And that's the challenge as well, because it's in the law as we're supposed to work to protect the investors.
Yep.
But we're also not to recommend anything to the investors.
Sure.
But implicitly, I don't know how you can do both of those things. Because if we do a good job, at protecting the investors, then it will also be that they could look at it and say, oh, offerings on our platform are more
Yeah,
secure.
right.
They've given their
Assuming
stamp
Rich is
of
given
approval
the- yeah.
because they've done some kind of vetting. So even though that's not discussed in the law, it's unfortunately there.
Yeah.
It's anticipated that some kind of implication has to
Sure.
be read into it, just because you can't get away from it based on our
Yeah,
responsibilities.
the
So,
role that we play. That being said, we avoid, and like if we see something that we're like, this is not a good deal, we're not gonna list it.
Right.
Because that is our due, like
Yeah, if we
want
know,
it to be
if we
successful.
want to get that information across, so I want to add it here.
Yeah.
You know, if you're looking at our platform as an investor, any crowdfunding platform, you should just expect that you're going to lose that money. And if you get it back, if you get any of it back, if you get it back with the promised return amount, then consider that obviously a bonus or a success.
Yeah, awesome.
I don't know if we could ever say that often enough, because, you know, we have that, I don't know on how many different places on our current website, and we still get some people like, you know, writing into us asking, when are they gonna get paid back? And honestly, from that I can see they likely didn't read the documents that they should have read.
They're like, this is a cool project.
Yeah, exactly, they get excited. I will say one other thing, and I'm gonna give, it's kind of an instruction, kind of like one of those, hey, we want you guys to improve your education about it.
Sure.
At the same time, I don't wanna just say, hey, expect to lose your money, and then everybody's like, well, why would I ever invest in crowdfunding, or anything, you know?
Sure.
And I will say that you should look at it not just as every investment individually is going to fail, but as a whole, some will fail, some will earn your money back or lose less, and some will actually succeed in the sense of what you're hoping for when you look at the terms.
Sure.
And that's how venture capital works, and that's why venture capitalists are able to make money, is because they play a numbers game. They are diversifying in multiple companies, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's something like, from my recollection, it is something like 7 of the companies are going to fail, 2 of them are going to return their money, and 1 of them is going to make it big.
Yeah.
And give them enough return back that it was worth it, but 7 of them failed. You can't know, like you can look at the executive team, you can look at the financials, you can look at everything about a company that they disclose and still not know if they're gonna make it or not.
Yeah.
And you know, you think you could, but you're likely wrong. So the strategy that I would recommend is to play a numbers game.
Yeah. So not only diversifying in the type of investment you're doing, but also in the companies that you're investing in each type of investment. So let's say, you know, you're adding crowdfunding to your portfolio as a way of diversifying. When you're doing that, it's also smart to diversify, you know, let's say vertically, in the types of crowdfunding companies, in the crowdfunding that the companies are doing.
Okay, so by that, are you talking about like us and a competitor? And so a competitor might have, I know other companies have, you know, music, or local consumer stores.
Sure.
You know, so small town, Main Street.
Yeah.
And that's what you're talking about, like, so you wanna get some of those, some
Could be.
business to business, some real estate, some,
Yeah.
potentially, yeah.
My brain obviously was thinking about Ridge only.
Okay.
But I'm thinking like if you got $10 to invest,
Yeah.
and you decide, you know, 3 in bonds, 4 in stocks, and what is my math now? 3 in
Yeah, it's like,
you
well,
do
you
a dollar
forgot
in real
crypto
estate.
or.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I can get my Doge
hard
going.
assets.
You know, if you've got your $3 left over and you're going to put all $3 in crowdfunding, maybe you do 1 in real estate, 1 in film, and 1 in
Sure,
B2B.
split it up.
Yeah.
And obviously, be wise about it. Obviously, you know, if I were doing it, you know, I wouldn't put money into a ton of types of companies just because I think they're going to fail.
Sure.
Especially in the current market. And so I would be a little bit more narrow on the types
Okay.
based on economic principles. And then from there, diversify into just different companies
Okay.
because you don't know who's going to do it better.
So you're saying if I have $3 to do in crowdfunding, I'm going to do all 3 in this scenario, all 3 in real estate, but 3 separate real estate
Potentially,
companies?
yeah, potentially.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, as long as, I mean, if you agree with the thesis that real estate will succeed,
Mhm.
even in a downturning market,